host, Corey Stevens.
I guess you're also a host. I should have said that.
Maybe you're co-host and I'm co-host.
Maybe. So what's new with you? Have you had anything good to eat?
Had some chicken.
You had some chicken? Have you had any tacos lately?
I've had some tacos lately.
Oh, because they're in the news, baby.
Yeah, because everybody's loving it. Dallas Cowboys picked Taco Charlton in the first round the other day.
Yeah, no, I'm not loving it. I hope TJ Watt just explodes.
Look, he's on a good team, and he's probably a good player. So it wouldn't really surprise me if he has a better career than Taco Charlton. But, we have who we have.
I wonder, do you think the T in TJ Watt stands for taco?
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, that would be. I was watching this show called 60 Days In. It's about being 60 days in jail on A&E, and there's two guys with the same
How
name.
is this relevant?
It's kind of like taco and taco.
Right. Well, no, the NFL draft just happened. Cowboys drafted a bunch of defensive players. Unfortunately, they did not pick up Jake Butt in the fourth round.
They lost their butt on that one, didn't they?
Yeah, he has a great name, and he was actually Taco Charlton's roommate in college. So they could have stood on the sideline together and been butt taco. I thought it was a golden opportunity.
Yeah, just like Tebow and Hernandez. Tebow wore John 3:16 eye black. Hernandez wore it across his forehead.
Right.
Is that too soon?
No.
No.
We already talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's old news now.
Speaking of golden opportunity, I'm drinking a golden ale from China. What are you drinking?
I'm only drinking our not sponsor, Lone Star Beer.
Our not sponsor.
Yeah, our not sponsor.
Just a subtle dig at Lone Star for not giving us a
Yeah, because
six-pack.
they never want to read. They never want to read their messages via Facebook.
Lone Star, get on that. You've got a bunch of Facebook messages from us. We need you as a sponsor.
And about 90% of them are after I'm drunk.
You should consider writing a few more professional messages.
Oh, okay. I'll try next time when I'm sober.
Yeah, think about that. So, since tacos are in the news, what's your favorite taco place in Dallas?
Man, I am a Fuel City fan.
Are there any good tacos in Frisco?
Man,
I feel like it's kind of a desert up here.
dude, Frisco.
Well, they have Torchy's over in Allen or something?
Well, they have Torchy's over there. They have Torchy's in Allen and Plano.
You got anything in Frisco? Jeez.
They have 10-star tacos at the mall.
Yeah, that hardly qualifies. I think Frisco's best tacos are Taco Bell. So.
Well, they have that Leo's tacos, but I haven't
Literally
really heard much
nobody's
about
heard
it.
of Leo's Tacos.
Yeah, it's in this random sketchy ass looking building. But
Frisco
no,
has sketchy ass buildings?
well, I mean, sketchy is in the fact that nothing's lasted more than 3 months there. They had a chicken place that ended up closing up.
Are we live? Let's talk about sports.
Let's go sports.
All right, we're going to get into some MLB news. Interesting story about one Steve Delabar. Tell us about that, Chase.
So Steve Delabar, if anybody follows baseball closely, will remember in 2010 he was famous for getting on the Tom House throwing and velocity program. So basically what he did was he broke his elbow. He was drafted by the Padres and broke his elbow after pitching in independent baseball, which is lower than Major League Baseball. And that was it. He was going to be a substitute teacher, and he became an assistant baseball coach, so he got on this velocity program to teach the kids. Well, it ended up rehabbing his arm, and he hit 92 miles an hour. So the Mariners signed him and gave him a contract. He ended up making his debut. They traded him off to Toronto, and then he got a minor league contract with an invite to camp with Cleveland this year.
So he made the bigs for a little while. But
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
minor league for the rest of the time.
Yeah, so he was my majors with Mariners and a stint with the Blue Jays. So it's a real good feel-good story, kind of like The Rookie. Well, the feel-good story came to an end this week as he tested positive for Osterin, I believe was what it is. It keeps you from fatiguing and keeps your muscles, builds it up like an anabolic steroid. So he got hit with a nice little 80-game suspension.
Well, when you get caught, you get caught.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is if you look at the guys that are getting caught right now, they're all guys who were prime players about 3 or 4 years ago, and it just kind of seems like they're Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite trying to live the glory years again and doping.
That's what performance-enhancing drugs are good for. They're good to get you to your prime and you can try to hang on to that for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely...
Normal players would break down a little sooner, and you just hang around a little bit longer because those drugs.
So are we past the steroid era? No. Are we trying to do something about it? Yeah.
Well, I think you're not going to ever stop catching cheaters and having cheaters, but I mean, I think the mindset shift is different. You know, we're a good 20 years past, you know, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. I think the mindset is different. You know, you can't just, you know, you're going to get caught and get hit with a giant suspension. You're going to be Ryan Braun or you're going to be Charlie Marte. So don't do it. Don't
Yeah, I mean, they you know, I know they were talking about the gummy that Nelson Cruz was supposedly taking there for a while, and a lot of them that basically they popped it before batting practice, and then by the end of the game, it was completely out of your system. So when you had to do your piss test, it would come back clear, and it seems like either things are getting different with the testing.
Yeah.
There's another person, Eric Thames, who right now has almost as much home runs as the Red Sox. They've all been on him about his drug test, and he's been able to pass them all with flying colors.
I mean, he did come from nowhere, but he's a big guy with a good swing.
But that's the thing is, like, it's kind of like having Taco Charlton out there on a baseball field. Like, you're going to get some out, and you're going to be a good player. I think he's got his American, you know, his big burly build that we like in baseball, but he has that Asian mindset from playing in Korea.
Yeah, somebody was pointing out like how many breaking balls that they would throw over in the league in Korea.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So that he'd be like a better, because of his time over there, a better breaking ball hitter than anybody here. So he's probably using that to his advantage.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're a power hitter, you learn how to find the ball, maybe not drive the ball as much, but put the ball more in play. They're more of a contact,
Lift it a little bit,
and
yeah.
they play a lot of small ball.
Yeah. So let's look around real quick at some big injury news.
Yes, two teams right now who are shit out of luck and jolly well fucked for the injury report would be the Mariners and the Mets. So starting off with the Mariners, Felix Hernandez gets a 10-day with shoulder inflammation. They had him as dead arm, and they started looking into it. So he's at least 10 days. And then Mitch Haniger got placed on the 10-day and will probably go a little bit longer with a grade 2 oblique strain. He's the rookie that's been on fire.
He's been tearing it up.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been one of the pluses. And then going into the Mets, Syndergaard gets a 10-day DL with bicep tendonitis, which they already have David Wright and a few other key players from last year and the year before's playoff runs. Yoenis Cespedes, though, going down with a 10-day hamstring strain, which a lot of people are saying will probably also be a little bit longer than the 10-day from the way that it looked.
Yeah.
But there was a video that surfaced a couple days ago from Yoenis Cespedes taking batting practice that day, and he basically fell over and was grabbing his leg. He buckled up, and Terry Collins, with all of his bright ideas, decided, hey, let's start this guy. And so he pulls up during the Braves game. This was also the same day that Harvey didn't know he was starting until 10 a.m. for a 1 p.m. game. So we had 3 hours, and we saw how that debacle happened.
Seems kind of awkward.
Yeah, definitely.
Why would he have not known? They didn't name a starter.
They didn't scratch Syndergaard. Well, I guess they scratched Syndergaard.
Right.
Well, they scratched Syndergaard. Usually they won't announce it to like the media, but whoever's going on, they know, hey, when you come to work tomorrow, you probably ought to be ready to cover some shit.
Yeah.
And they told him about 10 o'clock, hey, you might want to show up to the ballpark right now because you're starting today.
It's not real smart, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, dumbass award for MLB manager this week goes to Terry Collins.
Well, and how are the Mets doing?
The Mets are, I believe, dead last.
Yeah. So,
I mean, do we even count the Braves' record anymore?
I mean, whatever. If the Braves are above you,
Yeah, I mean,
Phillies are above them.
Yeah, well, the Phillies are looking good right now, and we'll talk a little bit about them here in a few minutes.
How about the biggest injury news from like maybe a week ago?
Of the 4 to 6 week shoulder injury from Bumgarner on the dirt bike. Yeah, he pretty much took himself out till the All-Star break.
That's
So I know I said he had a leg injury. I had read a wrong
I
report.
think it was shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his shoulder that he hurt. So yeah, he's definitely out till around the All-Star break.
That's not good news.
No,
You should not fall off your dirt bike when you're a star pitcher.
but do you want to hear some good news though, Corey?
Sure.
You want to hear some good news?
I'd love to hear some good news.
What would a 15-8 record sound like to you? Does that sound like some good news?
You know, I'd love that.
You would. What about a batting average, a team batting average of 273?
That sounds, if I remember correctly, about 70 to 60 points higher than the Rangers.
Yeah, and maybe an OPS of 771,
Not
sluggage
bad.
of 428.
Not bad.
If you like that, do you like humidity? Because I have the place for you, buddy. The Houston Astros. The Houston Astros are still on fire. I don't think it's going to be put out either.
They're rolling. Their offense is clicking.
Yeah, they're right now they're at 15-8. It didn't seem like the Indians gave too much trouble. So I mean, it's been quite a different experience than a lot of us thought. I know people around Dallas, we were really jazzed about what was going on with the Rangers. We thought this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. And we're slowly starting to become as delusional as Cowboys fans. I mean, they're 3 games above LA right now, or they're 1 game above LA. They're 3 games above Seattle. And right now it's a 3-way tie for dead fucking last with Seattle, Oakland, and Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we technically have a good chance to make up ground on them because we're playing 4 against them soon. Also have a pretty good chance to lose 3 out of 4 and let them have an even bigger lead in the division.
For sure, yeah. No, it's there's opportunities. It's just, are they going to capitalize on it?
Yeah, well, the Rangers have an opportunity tonight. They're playing the Angels again, and
Hey,
they should have won last
Not to
night.
interrupt you, did they have an opportunity last night to win?
They did. I think it was a 3-3 game into the 7th.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Looks like it's a 0-0 game right now. Angels, Rangers in the 3rd. But anyway, go on. Yeah, last night Nick Martinez had a pretty good game. Pitched 6 strong innings, I think. And then Jeremy Jeffers kind of ruined everything in the 8th.
Yeah.
He had a hit and a walk and then a home run to Alex Pujols.
Why would our bullpen not upset us? Like it's
Look, if
it's
we're
worked
gonna
out for a
talk
whole month.
bullpen again, then we're gonna have to revisit every person that we've talked about in the past podcasts. There's been some good ones.
There have been.
Kella's 5 1/3 innings with no earned runs and no hits.
Well, according.
And Leclerc, pretty darn good. And there's a few others, but yeah, Jeffers seemed to lay an egg last night. Dyson had a good inning.
Yeah, Dyson couldn't lose it for us last night. It was already lost. So, I mean, there's always a plus to that. His first outing looked like, what he normally kind of looked like.
Yep.
So, yesterday published, since it is pretty much May 1st coming up here once this week is over with, the MLB, the Bleacher Report for MLB released report cards for all 30 teams at the end of April. So definitely in the AL West.
They basically said exactly what you said. The Astros offense is firing on all cylinders.
Yep.
And their pitching is, that looks about 0.4 better than the Rangers.
They have a 3.48 ERA.
It's pretty good. Dallas Keuchel has been doing much better than he did last year.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, they're definitely their favorites.
They got an A grade from Bleacher Report.
I mean, what's a grade mean?
Well, I mean, they are grading on a
judged
they are
against
grading
expectations,
Yes.
basically. So yeah.
They are grading on a curve, and that was one thing. They said it's not graded based upon your win-loss record. So like if you were like a strong contender and you're playing like shit right now, they're going to drop that down. So the 2 big ones was Houston Astros getting an A and
Orioles got an A.
Yeah, and the Rangers are sitting at a C minus. Offense, Texas ranks 28th with a 219 team batting average, but they're tied for fourth with 31 home runs. And
I think actually
they're ranked in the top 10 for
second in the AL with home runs. I think.
Yeah, they're tied
with
for
fourth
in
total.
the
Yeah. Right. Their batting average sucks, but their slugging and their slugging is like 19th out of 30. And on base percentage is pretty low.
But with their run differential, though, they should be above 500.
Exactly, and that's what you look at. Like last year, when you say, "Wow, the Rangers had such a good record in one-run games, and their run differential was basically dead even, but their record was so much better than that."
Yep.
Well, this year our record is worse than our run differential
Because we like to score 14 runs on the Twins.
Yeah, had a lovely inning, but maybe you can score more than 3 against the Angels, and then you beat them.
Yeah, but the loser for the most part for the AL West was the Seattle Mariners getting a D plus. They had all the money tied up. Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, Kyle Seager. They have the two rookies that are lights out, but
It is nice to see someone below the Rangers in
yeah.
the division.
Well, I mean they're tied right now. They're all 3 games back.
Right.
So I mean they're really not, but definitely there. If you are looking for some decent ball playing, and you're wanting to see something that's a little bit closer to, even teams, I would definitely say watch games in the American League Central. And
Yeah, they're all really close to each other, aren't they?
yeah, and give maybe your AL East and definitely give your NL West and NL Central a look.
The Yankees have been good. They've been great at home. Aaron Judge, I think he's a rookie or at least second year at the max, but he's hit 7 home runs at least. The Yankees are rolling right now. It's a good story. The Red Sox, somehow they're winning, and they have pretty low runs scored, and offense is just not clicking.
But their defense, and they've got Chris Sale starting every 5th day. That kind of helps you out.
It does, and I think it's just the difference of maybe getting lucky in a couple games, and you have one a little bit above 500. So I was looking back at the one-run games for the Rangers, and there's only been 7 of those so far in about 20 games, but we're 2-5. So last year we basically had the equivalent of a 5-3. That would have been our pace last year in one-run games. We were really good, maybe 5-2. Well, this year it's completely swapped. So obviously it's early, but those little wins and losses are what make your season.
Yeah, and right now it's a lot more to see with little games that have been played. There's been about 22 games for everybody so far this season, so we don't have a lot to go off of. But and that was one of the things also in the Bleacher Report article that it said this is the first month. Look at it next month, and you can totally have something completely different. If somebody can string a couple of good weeks together and things turn around for you.
Yeah.
And that's what we thought was going to happen after that 4-game sweep with Kansas City, and that just kind of seemed to fizzle out.
Yeah. We got some wins, and that's important. So because I don't have the notes right now, but looking at it last week or the week before, I was looking at worst records through the month of April and teams that still made the playoffs. And so basically now that we're above 10 wins, we're in the 11 to 12 win record, or win range, we wouldn't be like the most enormous surprise to make the playoffs.
Right.
So we've gotten ourselves above that 8-9 win level, which is where you're pretty much not going to climb out of that. That's a terrible pace to start off on. So there's a glimmer of hope, but definitely the storyline is just the pitching is okay sometimes, it's decent, but the bats just haven't been there except for Joey Gallo. Essentially, he's bat. I mean, honestly, I think he's batting as well as Adrian Beltre would be. I don't think we're actually missing out on any production. What do you think?
No, I think Gallo right now is probably where Beltre would be at about this part of the season.
His slugging percentage is top 25. It's basically I can't remember the number right now. I'll find it real quick. But slugging percentage is way up there at 597. Yeah, and then he has a better slugging percentage than Giancarlo Stanton. It's on pace with Mark Reynolds and Cespedes and Daniel Murphy, all these big names, Joey Votto. He's more than 100 points better than the second best slugging percentage on the Rangers. So his power is there. He's walking plenty. His on-base percentage is not that terrible at all. Second only to Shin Soo Choo. So he's getting on base. He's slugging. We aren't missing production at third. He's actually had some good defense. So he's definitely earned himself a spot. And he's just he's one of the bright spots in a really lackluster lineup so far for the Rangers.
Yeah.
We get nothing out of left field. I guess technically we had a stolen base by Delino, and we had a game-winning hit by Delino the other day, and Rua had a grand slam, right? I think in the 8th against the Twins, he had a grand slam, so first career one. So maybe Rua's got a few hits here. But left field is disappointing. Catcher's still disappointing. So we're the Joey Gallos. The Angels are the Los Angeles Mike Trouts.
Yeah.
And we're the Joey Gallos right now.
That's definitely what it's looking like. Joey Gallo is stepping in where he needs to be, and it's looking really good. I was actually trying to pull up and see where he would have been at for his batting average and everything like that, to see if we could compare month by month, but I'm not finding that stat.
To
find out where
Beltre?
Adrian Beltre and where Gallo would be.
I mean, month by month might be hard, but you can find.
Yeah, I mean, he had a
last
300.
year's
We had a 300 batting average
stats.
last year.
Beltre. Yeah, no, average is clearly better, but you're talking a 350 on base percentage. So,
Yeah.
Where does that line up in that almost 600 slugging percentage? So, he's not doing bad. He's definitely earned himself a spot. You can't possibly send that production down.
No,
Or
no,
you're gonna be the
and like we
basement
were-
of the AL West.
yeah. And last week or earlier this week when we were talking about the statement by John Daniels about trying to it's a conversation he would love to have. I think that still goes with more of the Adrian Beltre, where
Nowhere
he's
to be found, eh?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any information on any?
I saw somebody tweet out essentially what you and I just said. It's that he's nowhere to be found. I think he just can't quite run at full speed. I think his
Well, yeah,
he's just hurt but not super injured, and he's just not there. He's not ready.
yeah. I'd heard that he was on one of those weightless treadmills. So it's basically a treadmill that you can run on, and you don't have to. You don't put weight on it. It's some new technology shit that I don't know about.
Yeah, but it's disappointing. But at least we have production for the third base spot. There were a few people fairly upset with the fact that we've gone through the entire month of April and we don't have any Beltre. So looking at it like, okay, he decided to play through some injury, or how he got injured at the World Baseball
He
Classic.
tweaked his.
Or he got like a slight tweak before it, and then he went there.
Yeah, he irritated, and then he went there. He went 1 for 15,
Right.
and then he came back, and that's
He just never
Yeah, it
played
just-
in
yeah.
spring training, basically. Right, and so it was the kind of like, okay, did you try too hard to play for your country and injured yourself more than you needed to be? Yeah, just pulling up last year's stats. Beltre with a 350 on base percentage, only like a couple points better than Gallo right now, and slugging 521.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you can assume that Gallo might cool off from the 600 slugging, but 521 I think is attainable for half a season or more.
Yeah, well, I mean, and with the Rangers, they really need to find a stride here coming up, because they need to pull tonight and Sundays. They need to pull out a win there because
Yeah,
they've
I
got
mean-
4 hard ones in Houston coming on Monday.
Exactly, and the whole point of getting excited about a sweep versus the Royals is to say, okay, how about we just win some series? Who cares if you lose 1 or 2 in a row? Like maybe you lose the last of one game, the second of another. Like just win some series.
Yeah.
But then we go play the Minnesota Twins, and we lose 2 out of 3.
Yep.
And we play the Angels, and we lose the first one. And then we have 4 against the Astros. So, like, it would be great to win 3 out of 4 against the Astros, but all you're doing is making up the ground if you lose 2 out of 3 versus the Twins and the Angels. How about you win against the easy teams, and then maybe you get lucky against the Astros, and it actually makes a difference.
It's like looking at
We're just treading water. We're just playing 500 ball. That's all we are right now.
Looking at their schedule from April 20th, they swept Kansas City. They lost 2 out of 3 to Minnesota.
Yeah.
They lost last night with LA. So if they can win these 2 right here,
that would be lovely.
Yeah, and if
Get
they
the
could
ball
have won,
rolling
and if they could have done
into
2
Houston.
out of 3 against Minnesota, if they can just split with Houston,
Yeah, that'd be fine too.
because they're going to Seattle and then they have 4 games with
Against the
San
Padres.
Diego. Yeah,
You gotta make up ground when you play teams like Seattle and the Padres. And yes, you need a split or better against Houston.
yeah. I mean, and I was looking here too. It's like they have Seattle, San Diego. They played 2 games against San Diego in San Diego,
Yeah,
and then they have 2 games. So like, are they
Right.
gonna like fly on the plane? Like, are we getting that cheap? Like, are they trying to like get them
Yeah,
all?
that's what it looks like. It's an afternoon game at the Padres, and then we're coming right back to the Metroplex and playing the Padres the next evening.
For sure, yeah, definitely. Me and the lady are looking at going for the Philly series.
Philly,
I think the
yeah.
Philly series actually though could be pretty interesting because the Phillies are rebuilding. I know if we would have looked at that schedule last year and seen Padres and seen the Phillies, we definitely would have been thinking like, all right, well that's 7 wins right there.
I think it's just the it factor. Last year's Rangers had the it factor, and when they played teams like the Mariners, and when they played good teams like the Astros, they kicked their butt. And when they played weak teams like the Mariners and the Padres, they didn't just completely drop the ball. They beat the teams that they were supposed to beat.
Yeah.
And then they also beat the Astros, and then they played normal against everyone else. So it's just dropping the ball constantly. These huge losses. Okay, way to go. Like we just won 4 straight against the Royals, and then okay, that's fine. We only lost a 1-run game against the Twins, and then what do? You lose 8-1. Like, come on. And then 14-3. Great job. You just scored all those runs. It's 1 win. Anyway, so it's like you're banging your head against the wall. I mean, the Rangers are a 500 team until proven otherwise. And,
You're right.
You know, we've got a whole month of May to look and see if they can prove otherwise. Games against the Tigers, Red Sox, Blue Jays. I mean, those are all winnable. Those are all on the road too. But yeah, you've got to string some wins together.
Yeah, they've got to figure out a way to be able to, we're not thinking they're going to go out and win every series.
No.
We don't expect that. You don't expect that on any level. But you do expect, instead of losing 2 out of 3, let's win 2 out of 3. Let's start, on your 4-game series, let's start trying to split these things instead of just,
Right.
did you guys even fucking show up today?
Not really.
And that's the thing is you're hearing stuff, about Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish kind of silenced everybody with his last little 8-inning outing that he had. That was a really good outing.
It was.
More people have moved on to Cole Hamels.
I was looking at some of their side by side, and you and Cole actually have pitched the same exact number of innings, 32 and 2/3.
Yeah.
So we have a perfect lineup of comparison, and you has twice as many strikeouts. So I mean, yeah, he's a strikeout pitcher, and Cole is not quite as seeking the strikeout. Maybe he's not. Maybe his stuff is a tiny bit less now. He's getting a little older. Basically same amount of walks. Only a couple more hits to Cole Hamels, so they have identical ERAs. But when you look at how scary does this pitcher look on the mound, and the answer at a 3.03 ERA, pick your poison, is Yu Darvish is a lot more scary with his 30 strikeouts versus 15 strikeouts. So,
well, I also I wouldn't say that. I think that Cole Hamels has always been more of a contact pitcher.
yeah.
And there's a different philosophy. You're going to get, where are we
Sure,
at?
but if you say he's a ton more of a contact pitcher pitched to contact, he's only given up 4 more hits. Like, that's like 10% more.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's got double strikeouts per 9 innings. Their walks are the same.
Yeah.
Their home runs are right there at the same. Everything's still the same except for that strikeout. ERA's a little different. They're actually they're
that's
the same.
And okay. Honestly, we're gonna give props to Andrew Cashin real quick. He's pitched us 15 innings in 3 games, and he hasn't got the wins, but he's done his job. He took several shutouts deep into the game. So when we're talking like walks and hits per innings pitched, yeah, it's higher than you and Cole, but his ERA is actually lower. So he's doing a pretty good job. Martin, literally, like I was listening to some people talk about Martin Perez. It's like he goes out there and he pitches. He might last past his bad inning. Like he might have a bad inning in the 3rd and they don't pull him. And so say he pitches 6, and whether or not he gives up his runs in the 6 or not, it's like he pitches 5 dominant innings, and every single time has one shitty inning. It's like he's like all riled up and ready and focused, and then he's over there thinking about his girl, and he just throws up these softballs, and he gets wrecked for 1 inning, and then finally he gets through it somehow, and then he goes out and he throws 3 more great innings.
Mm-hmm.
He's so night and day. It is so frustrating.
Well, Yu Darvish's first ever outing for the Rangers, he gave up 7 runs in the first 2 innings.
Yeah.
They ended up winning the game because that was at the time when Kinsler was here, Andrews, Beltray, they were all on fire. You had, I want to say that was the first stint of Napoli was still here at that point.
Possibly.
But you had a lot more offense going on there, and it worked out. Now at this point, we don't have that luxury, and so you can't have him blow that up. It's just like last night with the bullpen. Like you can't let things like that happen.
But just think about how mentally different it is if you're a Rangers hitter and say you give up 4 runs in 6 innings. That's normal. It's not the greatest.
No, I mean,
but it happens.
A quality
but if
start
you
is
give,
anything 3 runs and under in 6 innings.
But if you give up 1 and then 2 and then 1, it looks a lot different.
Yeah.
Than when we give up a 4-run inning.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're down 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than little by little, it's just he has 1 terrible inning almost every game.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
It is, and it's one of those things where, I think the coaches are starting to realize it's best if we let him work it out, and he'll come back in the next innings. But in some good news though, AJ Griffin rejoined the Rangers today.
Yeah.
He's back with the club. They don't know really.
Expected start. They don't know.
They are. There's no decision
Maybe
if
4
he'll
days.
be taken off the list and start Wednesday. But I would say if he's already back, that it's probably looking like that.
So probably not Nick Martinez next time around.
Yeah, we probably won't see Nick Martinez again.
Why not? I mean, I'm cool with Nick Martinez instead of Martin Perez.
Yeah, Martin.
Until proven otherwise.
That's
Nick
the thing with
Martinez
Martin Perez is I don't
is
understand.
better.
I don't understand why. I mean, Martin Perez every year has this just shit.
It's the same story.
Yeah, It's
No,
should have, would have, and could have with him.
nobody's gonna listen, but yeah, I'd be a lot more comfortable with
I
a
mean,
few more Nick Martinez
what is his-
starts rather than
What
Martin
what
Perez.
is his contract?
Martin Perez.
Yeah, like is he?
I don't know. Probably overpaid for what he does. That's about all I know.
I mean, yeah, because that's hell. It doesn't even pull it up on baseball reference on what his
Yeah.
his stuff is. Oh no, never mind. It finally pulled it. I mean, I guess he's 4 years, 12.5 million. He's signed through the rest of this year
He's
with an
a-
18 through 20 team option. So he's at
So you have a team option for
Yeah.
next year,
so he's like 3.25
$4 million a year, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cheap. It's pretty damn cheap compared to Andrew Cashner at 9 or 10 million, right? And,
Yeah.
you know, your other players, and so, I mean, he happens to be the Rangers' number 3 option. He's really though a number 4. He's, you know, if we
Anywhere
had,
else,
if
yeah.
we, I don't know that he would make the rotation on a team like the Mets or the Nationals.
No.
So he's basically a 6 in a good team.
Yeah,
with
he
rotation.
would be a long reliever.
He's a number 5 on a lot of teams, and he happens to be our number 3. So, you know, we live and die by the Martin Perez. But speaking of frustrations and living and dying, a lot of interesting news came down the pipe the other day from big name sports media people getting laid off at ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN laid
I-
off Jason Stark, Ed Werder,
Dozens and dozens of people that they cut ties with.
and I believe the Russillo guys are gone as well, aren't they?
Yeah, one of them is basically let go, and one of them they said his role is significantly reduced, which essentially means the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Russillo and Cannell both were part of that. Jason Stark, big name with baseball news. Ed Werder, big name with the NFL news. Andy Katz, basketball. Mark Stein, basketball. Trent Dilfer, NFL. But all these players, actually closer to home. John Jacques Taylor, I think he's still on the radio. See, they separate. It was kind of confusing. I think he was answering stuff on Twitter. They separate radio from basic. So, like, he's not really paid as a columnist anymore for ESPN, but he's still got his Dallas radio show on ESPN.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, Russillo and Cannell, I think they'll still be on the radio for a little while. But then whatever else they were getting paid for is significantly reduced or
Yeah,
stopped.
and they laid off in quotations that really hot girl that's
Let's be honest, they had a lot of really hot
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
and
like-
a lot of them got laid off.
Yeah,
No,
well-
it was like 50 people or something. It was
Yeah.
a ton, and so it was a huge day. I think Clarence Hill in Dallas as well.
Well, I was reading the Huffington Post
Yeah.
article that was on it, and from October to November last year, ESPN lost 1 million subscribers
That's a lot.
in a month. They lost 1 million people. Is it solely ESPN's content that's causing them to go? I would say not entirely. I would say there is some.
Just like last year, when so much airtime was wasted about the NFL's ratings are down, the NFL's ratings are down. Is it because of the election? Is it because of this, that, and the other? Well, it's probably a lot of different reasons. And if you're talking about a population of 300 million plus watching TV, there's going to be a lot of different reasons. A lot of different people make their decisions, some based on money, some based on the content, some, just find out that their friend just got a gig with Fox Sports Southwest, and so now they start watching someone else.
Yeah. No, well, and that's the issue is,
So yeah, a lot of it.
do you have a cable bill?
No.
No. Nobody that I know has a cable bill.
And some people are paying. Yes, it's a monthly subscription cost, something like Roku, maybe Sling. Like there are different options, and it's just not. I don't think ESPN probably gets as big a share from that because those are the cheaper options generally.
Yeah.
I mean, people in Dallas, especially Dallas, has per capita one of the biggest alcohol consumptions in the nation. So obviously, people in Dallas and many people elsewhere, they're gonna go out and watch stuff.
Yeah.
So people are like, look, if I can get everything online and find some streaming content and be happy with it, they're gonna just pay their internet bill, and they damn sure don't have a home phone bill.
No, no.
And they're like, look, I don't want to pay $50 a month for TV or
I
more,
think
or whatever
I
it is.
think with this right here though, this, yeah, it's shitty for the people that are involved and the people that are going to miss out, but it's good for other markets. I think this right here, because I know the FCC lifted the ban on blackout restrictions.
Yeah.
It's just the leagues, because everybody's so tied in with all this money into broadcasting deals and contracts and things like that, that this may be a thing like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is just a shot in the dark. We raise the price for our streaming service $10 or $15 a month, and you don't get blacked out. It's like, I have MLB TV here in Dallas. I can't watch Astros or Rangers on it. Which is the only, really two of the ones that I would watch. Yeah. You know, so it's like for me, it's,
you're finding a way around it.
Yeah, and I like baseball enough to where, and I have enough interest in teams outside of, you know, the AL West that I can, you know, I justify that purchase. I justify the MLB TV because I can watch my Red Sox and my Dodgers, my Cubs. I can watch my Tigers. You know, those guys. But I think this may be a push, and we may see something in the NFL too, because NFL has probably the strictest streaming rights.
Right.
I know I was trying to watch a Sunday night football game on Sling. I was subscribing to them for a while, and I couldn't do it off of my iPhone, but I could do it off of my iPad because my iPad was using Wi-Fi, and you couldn't use cellular.
Right.
Yeah, you
so
couldn't.
strange.
Yeah, you couldn't stream it through cellular data. It had to be through Wi-Fi.
Well, right. So I think the big, like, okay, yes, it's too early to tell, but the big thought is, if ESPN is not making the same, like, you know, these companies, it's basically devastating news if they don't make 5% more in revenue every single year, right?
Yeah.
They want constant growth. So if ESPN goes through a span of a full year or 2 or 3 of stagnant growth, maybe a little bit of decline, who knows? Like, different demographics are declining and going up or and down, and so the splits are different. But what ESPN paid for broadcasting rights is a big reason why the NBA salary cap went up so much. I know you don't care a whole lot about the NBA, but last off season, the salary cap was projected and just rose huge amount.
Yeah.
And so you had all these players who were middle, above average players got paid out the wazoo, right? Because the salary cap went up like 20 million or something. And so next year it's going to go up a little more too. And all these players, it's like, well, we've got money, you know, we want to improve our team, let's pay whoever, even though it's not a great value at all. But that was a huge reason why all these basketball players got paid. Imagine if, you know, you don't know if it's going to affect, you know, baseball salaries, if it's going to affect football salaries, basketball salaries, but maybe in 3 or 4 years, when ESPN is, or when the leagues are going to the networks and saying, hey, we need to renew our rights, what if the money actually decreases? Like, that's never happened in years and years and years and years.
No.
Where any of the 4 major sports, maybe hockey, so maybe the 3 major sports, have had a loss in payroll, have had a loss, or have a reduction in the TV broadcasting deal.
Right.
It always goes from record
know,
number to record number. And so if it evens off and stops going up, you're going to have a lot of teams who had expectations and were planning their salaries on these expectations, and then all of a sudden they're left holding these overpriced players who are even more overpriced.
Yeah.
If the
Well,
salary
see,
cap in the NBA has to go down or
with
something
Major
like
League
that.
Baseball, you know, they don't have that salary cap like.
Of course, but the revenue ends up with the teams.
Yeah, because the Rangers in 2010 they signed a 20-year deal that was worth $80 million a year for. So it's basically with Fox Sports Southwest, it's $3 billion over 20 years is how much they're going to pay him. Where do you think they got enough money to make the fucking bid for you, Darvish? Where do you think they got the, that's...
Something like that. Yeah, their salary has gone up, and this year they've spent the most that they've ever spent.
Yeah, so there's that. They're bringing in that revenue from there.
Exactly.
But, ESPN doesn't have that local, because it's such a national thing. So a lot of your teams, there's nobody that has a MLB ESPN deal. ESPN has Sunday and Wednesday night baseball.
It's getting redistributed. It's redistributed between all the teams. Like whatever the big contract that ESPN is signing and paying for.
So they have like the home run derby.
Everybody.
Yeah. Really, honestly though, out of that whole ESPN deal, why the hell did they not get rid of Stephen A. Smith?
Look, that's a good question, and honestly, that was the question du jour. Everybody was saying that because
he's only there for
being a
controversy.
Stupid guy. Yeah, but he gets ratings. I mean, look, for some reason, he gets all the ratings, and
you want to tune in to see what stupid bullshit's gonna just flow out of his mouth.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I watched Lonzo Ball and Lonzo Ball's dad and Stephen A. Smith's. Yeah, I watched that because I didn't know which one was
terrible
dumb.
Train wreck. Yeah, but see, okay, when you're sitting in an office at ESPN and you're saying, hey, people aren't really watching us anymore. Should we get rid of all these quality reporters, or should we get rid of stupid heads like Stephen A. Smith and Jamel Hill? What should we keep?
Yeah.
Well, they kept those two, and they got rid of all these quality reporters like Jason Stark, who's been doing it for 15 years, and Ed Warner, who's been doing it for 15 years, and Mark Stein, who's been doing it for 10 or 15 years. These quality reporters, and you keep the idiots who just squawk.
And the key word is quality.
So sure, they get ratings, but people are still upset with them. People still know that it's shit. So
Stephen A. Smith is the essential of
it's like
Jerry.
Bill O'Reilly,
he's
honestly.
like Jerry Springer of sports.
Yeah.
It's just
show
trailer
up
trash, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, they had him on during Super Bowl. I remember that, and it was Julian Edelman, and they were talking about Julian Edelman. Oh, is Julian Edelman due a new contract? Is he going to get the big bucks? Is he going to get the big bucks? They're all having this conversation. And then Stephen A. Smith showed you he has no fucking clue what is going on in the world of sports by his question to Deion Sanders. Hey, Deion Sanders, you think he would be having this conversation if he was black? Yeah, you probably would because he's a good fucking wide receiver. Has no clue if he's green, yellow, orange, white, or black. He's a good wide receiver, so you're going to have the conversation.
Yeah,
it's
like that
stupid.
Everybody, and they don't want to.
Yeah, no one wants to hear it. He had the one little rant about the guy that lost $7 million because he couldn't stay off the weed. He dropped the N-word. He got fined for it. Like, we get it. We get it. You're a sideshow, Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith, if you ever hear my podcast, fuck you, Stephen A. Smith. There's nothing more in the world that I want than for you to have a podcast that no one listens to because no one wants to hear your stupid shit. And I hate turning on my days off TV. I hate turning on ESPN because SportsCenter goes away so we can have an hour and a half of his bullshit.
First thing, No, that's a good question. If Stephen A. Smith had a podcast, how many people would actually listen to it? Like, when you actually have
Probably the 4 people who are really concerned if Julian Edelman would get a contract if he wasn't white.
If you actually have to follow, subscribe, and go listen to Stephen A. Smith rather than just ESPN giving it to you, how many people would sign up for that?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, about 1 out of 100 compared to the people now that get to listen
but
to
though,
it.
here's some good things though, is it's showing that
people are
finding their news and information in other places that are relevant. They're not just sitting here listening to ESPN anymore. ESPN for the longest time was the only place that you could find news. If you're an MLB person, if you're an NFL person, now you have all these different TVs.
Right, they were the first and greatest. They're the the big man on the block, big man on campus. So it gives it gives a greater chance for all those 2nd through 6th rated networks, CBS, ABC, MLB Network, NFL Network, all these other players in the market. Fox Sports Southwest, whatever, to gain a little bit of market share, maybe they scoop up some of these good reporters. You don't know. So, and then it's it's very interesting stuff to follow.
Hey, I mean, I'm happy. My Aaron Andrews still has a job at Fox Sports. Heidi Watney still has a job at MLB TV.
I'm glad that you're focused on the right stuff.
Katie Nolan still has her show on Fox Sports. So like, I am all happy with that.
Well, I mean, like we said, the Rangers have a game against the Angels tonight and tomorrow. Yu Darvish is pitching right now. I think he had 3 scoreless innings at least. So we're gonna go watch that, and then we got Astros coming up.
Hey.
I think that does it for the show. Yeah.
It does it for the show. And you know what? If you want to hear some good content, listen. Let your friends know. Hey, ESPN's going down the shithole. Do you like baseball? Tune in to Cold Beers and Curveballs. You know. And also, we're still on Instagram. We're still doing our follow giveaway. So definitely help us out with that. Check us out on iTunes. We are on TuneIn Radio now.
That's
so if
awesome
you have the
news.
radio app, there's a lot of good podcasts on there. The Ringer podcast system's up on that as well. We love those guys. The MLB show is really fun. But definitely give it a shot. So we're on iTunes. Subscribe to us. It'll pop up every time we have a new one. You can listen to us. We're looking at like Mondays and Saturdays are kind of becoming our days that we're on. I thought that it took 24 hours to load up on iTunes. It actually doesn't. As soon as it hits SoundCloud, it is there. So SoundCloud.com also. Be on the lookout for Cold Beers and Curveballs to probably launch at the 1st of May. ColdBeersandCurveballs.com. And follow us on Twitter, CBNCB Podcast, and
Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
All the time. Cold
All
Beers
the
and Curveballs. And please keep telling us what you want to hear. We're probably going to do like a fan questionnaire and get some guests on here pretty soon.
Yeah,
also,
send us a message if you got something important you want to tell us, or if you want to give us a piece of your mind, and we can use that as some show notes and discuss it.
Yes, and please upload this to YouTube so Stephen A. Smith can hear my little rant that happened for 2 minutes. I would really love to hear from that guy.
Yeah.
And so with that, enjoy the rest of your week. We will be back early this next week to cover what happened this weekend, and we will talk to you guys later.